Oh, that was the wrong one. There we go. My layout a little bit to try and deal with it, and it's all, I'm on the wrong one. Hang on, there we go. Hopefully I should hear sounds a little bit better now, although I'm just noticing I can't hear any of the music. God damn it. Right, hang on. How on earth is this broken? I tested this before the stream and now all of a sudden it's decided not to work. Let me check something, because now I've got this music source. Maybe I need to disable it and re-enable it. Hang on. Can you can't hear music at all? For God's sake. Why? Why? So first thing I did was I removed the SID music because we were getting, well, I was getting strikes on the not strikes, copyright claims on the SID music on YouTube, and I want to avoid that. So I'm using Pretzel now, and I don't know why you can't hear it. Let me try turning this monitor off and on again. Typical. Well, this is a good start, isn't it? Let me try closing Pretzel and reopening it. Pretzel looks really good, but it's all going to be music you've never heard of before, so. But it does have a chiptune channel, so. And I can't hear a thing. Amazing. Well, I wonder if I can hear my. Let me just try my alerts, make sure I can hear those at the very least. Okay, I can hear alerts, that's fine. Oh, God's sake, why? I had this working perfectly. Let me try rerouting it through the main monitor. I can't hear any music at all from it. That's weird. That's weird. Ah, damn it. Okay, pause, play. Oh, Jesus. Okay. Oh. I like that. Oh shit. See, now that's too loud. I like that emote, Chiswicked. That's cool. Is that your remote? Chiswicked Luna. Awesome. I like it. Yeah, I don't know why we seem to be getting half the music and nothing else. God damn it, why? Oh, balls. Sue him. I feel honoured. It's cool. Yeah, as you can tell as well, I stuck the output from the RetroPie on the top as well, so there's some other shit for you guys to look at the top when I get really boring like now. It's bugging me why it's not coming out. This worked before. I tested this before the stream and this was working, and now all of a sudden it's decided it doesn't want to work. I made sure it's actually coming out of this monitor. Hi Stoker C64, welcome to the stream. I saw your latest stuff on the on your game. It's looking amazing. Okay, it's coming out of that monitor, all right. Yeah, you do have Jack Tramiel on yours. Let me try turning it up on here. Nope, still nothing. That's bizarre. So I've got something set up to capture. Oh, there we go. Can you hear that now? No, okay. It's like a burst of music and then it stopped. Oh, god damn it. Alright. This may be a more silent stream than normal then, unfortunately, until I can figure out what that's going on, why that's happening. Oh, actually, maybe I can turn the music up from the, yeah, I'll tell you what, I'll do that. Let me turn that one down. I'm going to turn the music up from the Raspberry Pi output, so let me just go into that. There's a filters or something, I put it on filters. And there's no sound coming out of that either. Oh yeah, there is. There we go. Ah, my alerts are working. Thank you for the host, Hayes. Okay, well, I'm not going to mess with that all night. I guess I'd still need to do a little bit more work. So the now playing in the bottom is just lying to you, basically. So anyway, thanks, guys. I'll see you next week. No, all right, let's go. You can't hear my alerts now. Oh no, don't tell me that. Can you not hear this? Okay. Well, I can hear the alert, so at least I can. Oh yeah, you can hear it. Cool. You can hear the alerts. All right, good. I'll figure out the rest later. I don't know what's going on there. I had this all working. I was really proud of myself. Spent an hour setting it all up. Switched all my alerts over to Streamlabs, and now it's not working. So that's great. Okay, so welcome, guys. Still a slightly delayed start of this stream. We're going to look at disk loading tonight using a library I've a set of kind of macros I've made, which is this file here. It's already on GitHub in the Dissect stream folder under episode 24, and it's free for you guys to use as you want. It may be useful to you, it may not as well. Thank you for the host, Gunstar. Yeah, this is kind of at Fore's request, actually, so he'll have to do some catching up if he's not here already. So what I did, I needed a way to be able to load from from two different cartridge formats, Magic Desk and Gmod 2. So Gmod 2 is the format that you will get most of your big cartridge releases in, so things like Sam's Journey, anything that's kind of multi-load will probably come in Gmod 2 format. This is a format, you can't buy these cartridges blank, and, well, I guess you can if you speak with people, but writes a game in 12 hours but can't play a CD. Yeah, actually I've not got my chat on the side of the screen. I'm having to look to the side. Let me just launch Edge as well. Edge. So I have my little chat in Edge here. Cool, there we go. And open my activity window. View, where's my activity? Docs. Toolbars. Where's my Twitch activity? Oh, whatever, that'll do. You can use Easy Flash for the save format, and that's what kind of most people will do if they're writing something that hasn't got kind of publisher backing, because Easy Flash is the format that's available for everybody to write. Yeah, I use so the reason I use Edge for my chat, Andy, is because it's the only browser I can make thin enough to fit down the side like this. All the other browsers won't let me go that thin. It's stupid, but it's the only one that will do it. So Yeah, so you can use Easy Flash for save. I don't have any save support in here. That's down to you to kind of implement that. There is no Easy Flash support at the moment, but I have started adding it. Actually, can you see it in here? No, it's not in here. I'll demonstrate when we get to the Cartridge file. But Magic Desk and Gmod are very similar. So what I do is I tend to write my stuff for Magic Desk, and then when it's ready to go, I will switch over to Gmod. But I also wanted a way to be able to use the same code to output a D64 file as well. You had to Google what Edge was. Yeah, I actually keep it at the edge of my screen, so Edge has actually improved a lot. They've switched over to Chromium now, so it actually feels pretty decent. I mean, I still wouldn't use it for day to day, but it is a lot better. I mean, close Pretzel just in case it decides to actually start playing music, because that'll get really messy. Okay, so that's why I felt I needed to write some kind of tools to allow me to do that, and the system I came up with isn't the neatest solution in the world. I'm sure there's better ways of doing this, but it works for me, and it allows me to quickly write a cartridge file, and then test the same thing using disk loading as well. So this is a very, very simple test file that I've got here. This is your setup of the file system. So to set a disk up, you use this block here. This .disk is a kick assembler directive, allows you to set a file name for the disk, an actual name for the disk. I don't know what this name thing means. I think this is the name you see in what's it called, DIR master, and then define the files that go on it, and then you create this bit here actually creates the bootable disk section based on one of these areas here. I need to look exactly. It's been a while since I did the disk stuff, but yeah, I'll explain about the different formats in a second. So and then to do the same thing with why is that this test loader dispute? Test loader. I don't have test loader in here. I'm not sure why. Oh, okay, yeah. So yeah, this create disk boot here tells this first segment here. You need to always have this segment in there, and then this tells it which segment to boot first and what address it's at. And the cart system is even simpler. So the cart system, you just you just add a lot of files to the cart. You tell it what the range of memory is, give it a string name to identify it, and a load address here. And then the code looks like this. So if you didn't have disk, you could get rid of this section completely. You just set a label for the beginning, a label for the end. You have to use this sudo PC. So what this is kind of like doing this, except it doesn't actually put it at that location. What this is doing is just saying all the code that's in this block, treat it as if it started at this location. So if you do like jump start -2, then that address will be calculated based on this here. But actually what's happening is when you compile this, all these sections are just compiled one after another, starting at 0. And so this is basically the first section will be the one that boots. So the very first file in here was the one that boots. In Cartridge, it's just the one at the top of the list. In the disk, you have to specify which one it is. I'll leave this test file in there as well. And then, yeah, so in Cartridge mode, this will just boot first. And when it boots, it will load up whichever file you tell it to through the loader macros, and then you can jump to the entry point. And so this is the file that it's loading, the test2 file, because we defined it here, test2, and this is the range that it's at, or a segment test2, which is this bit here. And this just fills the rest of memory from 0800 all the way to the end with a value. and then the entry point just increases the border and runs it. So if I change the type up here to Gmod 2 or Magic Desk, like so, it will create a cartridge version of it. Now the only other thing you need to change is your make file in here. So this make file, again, I'll include this with the code. It's already in the Git repo. So I need to change this to launch a CRT. So this last line is just launching Vice to test the file that we create, and we just need to tell the Cartify which version to use here. So I'll go through this script in a minute and explain what it's doing. The rest is just running Java, running kick assembler through the Java, and then this node script here will just take the data that's output from here and attach all the things it needs to make it a cartridge, but adds the headers and stuff. Why the fill? Okay, so this was a test file, and what I wanted to be able to test was that I could load to every single memory location. So this will load under IO RAM, it will load under the kernel, it turns the kernel off, it does things like that. So this fill is just to make sure that I can fill all that memory with stuff. Oh gosh, that getting weird noises from the I'm going to turn that down a little bit. So really this is unnecessary. This is just me testing that I can fill it up. It also give me a way to test the loading speeds as well. So I've got this set up for Magic Cart now, Magic Desk. So I change this here to Magic Desk, make sure that my Vice is going to run a cart file, and then it's as simple as pressing F8 and that will build it, and this is now running as a cart file. And there we go, and it's filled the entire memory with a value and then just increases the border. And then to do the same for D64, I'll just change that to D64, go into my make file, change that to D64, and come here and change that to D64. And now when I run it, it will build the same thing but and run it, but now it will do it through a disk loader instead. So you get an initial load time while it loads up the loader itself, then the screen will go black and then it will start loading the disk. So now it's in the actual disk loader. And I think it takes about 20 to 25 seconds to fill the memory up, which is pretty good considering the 1541 is slow as shit. So this is pretty good. Can you save on Magic Desk? No, you can't, unfortunately, no. However, for testing purposes, Magic Desk is great for testing against Gmod because it is exactly the same format with the exception of that save area. So you can see we've got the same code loading, and that's loading through disk. So let me explain how that's working. So let's just go through the cartridge section first. So if we ignore these sections here, I'm just going to comment them out. So what we're doing is we're defining bits of code like this. So you can imagine this would be like this normally, without this sudo PC, and there'd be a piece of code here, and it would be the same here, start equals like that. But the problem with that is that when you compile that, that's going to create an output file with a PRG header which says start at 0900, and then it's going to fill all the gap between here and here with zeros usually. So what's actually happening when you do this is just going to create these the bytes that make up this code right at the beginning of memory at 0. In fact, you'll see it if I just do a compile from here. Why has it got errors? Some tests not defined. Oh, because I'm on D64. Let me just put this back. Let's change these back again. So I'm not going to run it. I'm just going to compile it so I can show you the output. So you can see there. Actually, it has built. Actually, how has it built that? It should not have built the rest of it, but for some reason it has. Cartridge header. Oh yes, so the first thing that CartLoader does is it creates some code specifically for dealing with the files on the cartridge. That pie is very distracting. Okay, I will maybe move that at some point again. I just wanted to try it out on this stream. If it does bug people enough, I'll move it on the next stream. Somebody asked on the last stream if they could see what was going on there, so I put it there, and I just didn't move it. I've left it there. I just put, in fact, I put RetroPie over the top so people knew what it was. So it creates a header for the cartridge, which is basically a FAT table, a file allocation table. It's a list of where all these files that we add are on the cartridge and how to unpack them. Can we lose the pie? Okay, right. Give me a second. Where's my other camera? I've got my camera, haven't I, somewhere? Let me try turning that back on. There we go. And let me try turning that off. There we go. Now you haven't got any music though, so because Pretzel refuses to load for some reason. Let me give Pretzel one more quick try. Oh wow, it's actually working. Why wouldn't that work before? That's weird. Alright, cool. I'll leave it like that then. Hey Furrow, welcome to the stream. So, yeah, this is what the first thing this cart loader is doing is it's creating the tools it needs to unpack these things from. I say unpack, there's no compression going on here. That's down to you to implement. Oh, don't start with the lights are distracting. The lights are beautiful and you know it. Yeah, so that takes up a little bit of the disk, and then this here is the rest of the memory, and this is basically these files here, and they're just stored sequentially on the cartridge data, and I can add as many of these as I want, and it will just fill up even if I don't reference them. If I just keep making blocks like this and just add these, you'll see when I go to compile this, the memory starts filling up quite a lot down here, and this is absolutely fine. So normally this would be kind of a memory address out of range, but this is just being stored on the cartridge. So once they're stored on the cartridge, what you can do is you can then use you have to use loader add file. That's what creates these fat indexes basically, and then you can use load file to load them into memory at any time. So the cart loader file itself, which is the bit you import at the top here, this is just a list of macros basically for adding files and loading files. Some of it is disk specific, like this section here is for disks. And some of it is to do with cartridges. You've got like loading banks if you want to use banking yourself, but this actually abstracts the banking away from you. You don't need to do that. And then you have a block of cartridge code here which handles the loading and stuff. I just spotted the little finger on Luna. Yeah. Okay, so the last step is in the make file is once it's compiled, so you've now got a chunk of memory like this, you've got the stuff needed to run the cartridge, the FAT table, so the table of data that make up the cartridge itself, the kind of the locations of the files on the disk. So this is the file allocation table basically, and then the code itself.
the last thing we need to do is cartify it. So that data alone isn't enough. It says cartridge header here. It's probably the wrong thing for it to say. It should probably, let me change that actually. It should probably say something like cartridge code or something, because it's not actually the cartridge header at this point. So if I don't see that, let's see if I can find it. Cartridge, there you go. I'm going to write cartridge code. So it's not actually the cartridge header, this is the code that runs the cartridge. The cartridge header we add with this Cartify file. This is a little node script, and this takes the format as a parameter. You can see in here, Magic Desk, and then it uses that to build the actual cartridge headers. So this is where is it? Wrong file. This one here. So these are cartridge headers, and it's a particular sequence of bytes. So the very first thing that it will do. In fact, let's open it up in hex editor. I wonder if I can zoom in on this. No, I can't actually. Can I? I don't know how well you guys can see that. Let's grab it from. Actually, that's Krills. I'm going to show you how to build Krills as well in a minute. Just take a cartridge from here. Oh, that's not built yet. Let me do a full build of it. Oh, there we go. So when you open a file in Vice, it will check the first couple of bytes, called the file header, basically, to see what kind of file it is. And the first 40 bytes of a cartridge file, sorry, 64 bytes of a cartridge file, contain all the information that Vice needs to know. And actually, when you go to burn the cartridge as well, some of this information is on the cartridge. It tells the C64 what it is and how to run it. So in this case, it will always have C64 cartridge, as you can see there, and then it will have some additional information which is specific to the cartridge type. Can we write a CLI tool that makes loads of random string of binary onto a disk until it makes a game? That'd be kind of cool. So this is what this file is trying to do. It's trying to create this header, and as well as create this header, it will also create the little pieces of code it needs to put stuff into the correct banks, because every bank has a little bit of information to say how big the bank is, and yeah, well, that's it basically, how big the bank is. So that's what this file is doing. It creates the headers, which are slightly different for Gmod and Magic Desk. I have started doing the Easy Flash one. This isn't working at the moment. I've not debugged why, because I just haven't had the time to look at it. And then creates the headers for each bank as well. So for every 8K of data in that file that we output from Kick Assembler, it needs to insert a little kind of header to each of those 8 banks to say which bank number it is, which you can see here, bank, and it has the word chip written, which you might be able to see actually in the thing, which just tells it that it is a bank. Yeah, you can see it there. So there's one, the word chips written here, and there'll be another one around about 2000 something. So let me skip through a little bit. You can see how it's filled the bank up. Yeah, there we go, chip. You can see it again there. So it has to put that at the beginning of every bank to work. I kind of separated this all out so you didn't have to worry about how this works. But if you do want to know about how the cartridge is laid out, this is the file to come and have a look at. Other than that, it's not really doing very much. It's just picking off 8 kilobytes of the cartridge at a time, inserting a bank header to it, and just keeps doing that until it's finished writing the file, and then outputs it. So this is what turns our kind of straight binary file from here into something that we can run on the C64, and in Vice in particular. So it's worth noting, as Hayes says, that I don't think the Ultimate will run Gmod games at the moment. So this is why I have the Magic Desk format, because this allows you to test pretty much how it would work on the Gmod, with the exception of the saving, and run it on real hardware. So I tend to do all my developing on Magic Desk for now, so I can test on real hardware. So there's a couple of important things to note about the cart loader. The first thing is you need a section of memory to have the cart loader data in. The cart loader data, actually it doesn't say here how big it is. I should probably put a note in for that. That's 192 bytes you need. So in this case I'm just using screen RAM, and I just reserve that screen RAM memory to do that, and you have to leave that there all the time. You can't overwrite that. If you try and load anything from your cartridge that overwrites that, then it's going to break. The other thing you need is some zero page memory to do this. This helps us kind of make the cart load copy quickly. You need about 10 bytes for that. I put it up towards the end of zero page. This you can probably leave as it is. This is just the maximum number of files on the cartridge. 256 is the maximum number you can have anyway. But say you wanted to reduce the fat table footprint, you would reduce this down a little bit. This is what reserves the room on the cartridge for the fat table. And the final one is just for disks, and this is the krill install method. We'll go through that in a second. Let's just do a demonstration of this now. So if you wanted to load two things in the same place and load a different one at a different time, you could call this test 3. We'll load this in the same spot here, but in this case we're just gonna do this. So it's a slightly different format, but you can see they're now both in the same location. So normally this, if you didn't use sudo PC, this would fail. That music's really loud, by the way. I don't know if it is for you guys. I'm going to turn it down ever so slightly. There we go. Yeah, if you didn't use sudo PC, this would fail because you'd be overwriting the same addresses. But because we use sudo PC, they're just put into the cartridge memory directly after each other. But you can use this test3 to create a new test file here. So if I just do test3 like so, it loads into the same location. So at the moment this is just loading test2, so let's try that out. Oh, it's failed because it's got entry. It really doesn't matter. The thing to note as well is that you will have issues with labels being repeated, because even though these are in separate blocks, this block actually doesn't count for scoping. So both this label and this label are within the same scope. However, they're also in the same location. So you know our counter starts here, fills this much, and then has a label. So really don't even need that label. Jump into entry, we'll jump to this point or this point depending on which bank is loaded in. So let's load that. So we should get the original code. Oh, I've pressed F7 instead of F8. And there we go. And that's the original one. And it's to load up the other one. It's simple as just changing that. And now when we load it, it will load the other bank instead. So both of those pieces of code are on the cartridge, but now we're just picking a different one to load. There we go. Slightly different look to it now. So what we're going to do today, we're going to use this. I'm going to demonstrate how to use this along with Zooperdan's Mcdraw.xyz. We're going to create some bitmaps. We're going to output those formats, and we're going to create some files. We're going to create some slideshow bitmaps using that and using this system. Before we do that, I'll just quickly demonstrate how the disk loader works. Using the same system. So if you wanted to do this with 3 files like so, you'd have to put another one here. Again, like I said, I will share all this code. Use this as your kind of test bed. When we make the slideshow, we'll do it in a separate file, so you've still got this one as a test. So there is this disk directive. This allows you to kind of set the disk up exactly as you want it. You can insert kind of disk art in here as well. You know, I think it's I think type equals rel or something. Then you can use the names to kind of just do separators and stuff. So you use this to define the disk however you want to. You've always got to have this line in, as it says here, always the first segment. Always add this in. The disk loader itself, the cart loader will create this segment, and then you link this segment to whichever one you want to load. You should be loading the same one as the top file in your auto load cart here, so test and the location. Really, really simple. As I say, the only difference is you need to do D64 in there, and in your make file you need to do D64 there. And if you want it to auto run in Vice, you need to make sure you're obviously pointing to a D64 file and not a cartridge file. So now if we run that, that should run from disk. Why is that saying invalid total? Oh, I forgot the comma on the end, that's why. There we go. And this should run from disk but produce the same black and white flash. Now, the other thing to bear in mind is that this doesn't have anything related to multi-disk. So if you need more than one disk, you will need to modify it. A disk is 170 kilobytes, whereas Gmod cartridges are 512. So you're looking at about three disks per cartridge. So if you've got a game that fills up a cartridge and you want it to be on disk as well, you're going to have to write some extra stuff to make this work on disks, on multiple disks. The way you would do that is you could create another disk here, like so, and add these things in. You will still be able to use load file like this, but you will have to write something to tell the user to insert the right disk if you're using multiple disks. That isn't supported yet in this. I don't know if I will add that as well. I'm not sure yet. I probably will at some point. I guess Doc2 is going to need it. So the final thing before we start doing looking at XYZ at Mcdraw is Krill. So Krill is a loader by a guy called Krill. You can get it on CSDB. It comes as a set of files which you can compile depending on how you want to use it. I will demonstrate now how that works. Where is... There we go, let's do it like that. I need to get terminal set up in here as well. I'm still using a Windows prompt on here, but it's fine. Okay, let's go to my desktop. Go to loader. Oops. Let's make that a little bit bigger. Let's get rid of that for now. And I think I need to read the README because I can't remember how to launch this. Let's put that in there. The README tells you how to do all this, but I'll show you anyway. You do need to install CCS65 to get it to run. I'm hoping that's already installed on here. It should be. There's the build instructions. There we go. Yeah, CC65. Sorry, not CCS65. So the simplest way is just to do make prg and make as an install. Okay. All right. I'm not going to do that now. But if you read through this, it does tell you how to do that. And basically, Krill will create two files for you. It will create what's called the install file and the install file and the resident file. It says here actually in massive letters. So the install file is a one-time thing. You install that somewhere in memory. It's usually the first thing you will run, and that installs the resident code somewhere. So you jump to this location, it installs the resident code in another location. You can then overwrite the install code, but you need to leave the resident code in place because this is like the cartridge loader. This needs to be there all the time so that you can load stuff. You can also define where the 0-page indexes start. It's a good idea just to keep these the same as the cart loader ones, so you're not having to worry about keeping certain addresses free. And again, I think this needs about 10 bytes as well. I have, however, included these files already. So I've got 2 files here: install C64, unload a C64. They're referenced in the cart loader code. So if you are having problems with those files not loading, you will find references to them here. You may need to change these paths. And in this case, we install the installer at 0900, and then we run that immediately. As soon as it's run, we end up with code, resident code. Actually, no, the installer is here. Sorry, 10DD. It will install the resident code at another location. Actually, I think it stores at 0400 as well. The include file it makes is not kick friendly. Yes, so this is the include file that it generates. Don't worry about this file. So what I've done is in the main file here, I've listed the things you need to worry about. So this is, it tells you here, so it says must be load draw. So if I go into this and look for load draw, load raw it is. Here's load raw, and that address is 0400. So you would come in here, you'd make sure that when you're using D64, that this cart copy base is set to that, and it is. And for D64 only, so you need this for both cart and disk, but for D64 only, you need to specify where the install method is. So you look for krill install method in the include file, and install, there we go, 10DD, and just put that in there. And just put these 2 files in this folder. Make sure you reference them in cart loader properly here. And that should allow you to load things using krill. If anybody has any issues with this, please speak to me. I want this to be as useful as possible, because I know people do have issues with getting carts and disks to work. So please speak to me about it, and we'll try and get your issues sorted out. And if there is any improvements we can make to this, then I will make them as well. I'm trying to make sure that this is useful for me, but is still kind of something that is useful to share with the wider community as well. That's about it for that. So let's put this to the test with a new file. So before we do that, let's go and have a look at Mcdraw. I keep calling it XYZ because it ends with XYZ. Let me pull it over from here. There we go. Oh, what's that message? Oh yeah. It's just Hayes telling me about my my music. I don't know what is going on. The alerts do seem really quiet to me. I do hear them though, but they are a lot quieter than they. Oh, actually, my speakers have gone off again. What the? Getting annoyed. Do I support decrunch at all? Not in the file that not in the file I've created there, but you could, in theory, combine the Kick Cruncher plugins with decrunching on krill and do it that way. The only advantage to actually using krill to do the decrunching is that krill will do it as it loads, so you're not wasting any time doing a decrunch at the end. But to be honest with you, decrunching is not that slow. So these are not jank speakers. These are supposed to be bloody good speakers, but for some reason they just turn off after a while. It's annoying. Have I missed an alert? I'm sorry if I missed an alert, guys. I'm getting really frustrated with my sound setup. Maybe I need to ditch it all, get a new sound setup, new computer. Frustrating. Okay, yeah. So while there is no decrunching support in there at the moment, it wouldn't be it would be a trivial task to add it in. I haven't needed it so far. 512k is quite a lot of room to add stuff. So for discs, and I'm not for carts. Sorry, and I'm not really doing anything with discs at the moment. So I've not really needed to do that. Yeah, that is the good thing about it. It will decrunch on the fly. But if you are if you load in an XMized file and get it to crunch forwards, I think, rather than backwards, then you can load it in place and decrunch it in place as well, so you don't actually need a buffer there either. So but again, this is something, if anybody wants to kind of have a play around with this and add crunching support into it, by all means do it. Let me know. I can add it to the file. Maybe I'll make this a separate repo actually, if enough people use it, and then we can kind of collaborate on it a little bit. Okay, so let's take a look at XYZ. So this is a great tool. I've been playing around a lot with this today, and I really like it. I really wish I could draw, because I feel like I'm missing out on the kind of drawing aspect of it. I'm terrible at drawing in packages, so for me it's kind of a bit lost on me really as an art tool. But it's definitely one of the more usable tools out there, and the beautiful thing is it all runs in the browser as well. Zooperdan did mention that it's only working in Chrome at the moment, and you need your browser set to 100%. I am not getting that. I'll tell you. I'll show you what I've got. I've got what's it called? Sound Blaster X speakers. I got these things. I mean, they're not the most expensive speakers in the world, but they should be decent. I don't have the RGB ones, so thank God. But they do just seem to turn off on their own. If it thinks it's quiet enough, it turns them off. It's frustrating. I may change to something better. Although, to be honest, at the moment, those would be better because they're not going to turn off. So it's annoying. It's annoying. Yeah. So this tool is really handy, and I'm sure the artists out there will be able to do something beautiful with it. I mean, look at the examples. Where are the example images here? Actually, I don't know. Is Zooperdan here? It seems to, my speakers seem to decide when there's enough sound coming through them to be bothered to turn themselves on. Yeah, hi Zooperdan. Which is really frustrating, because I have the sound's quite low on the stream anyway, so I can barely hear it through the speakers, but obviously the circuitry in the speakers decides that it's too quiet and just turns them off. So yeah, this is drawn by Zooperdan. Did you use this to draw it in, or is this drawn in something else? You did use this as well. That's cool. Oh, are you answering? Yeah, okay. Oh, there you go. Colt's been using it on Firefox and it's had no issues as well. And I'm pretty sure it will work on Edge as well. In fact, this isn't Chrome that I'm using. This is Brave browser, so it does work in Brave browser as well. But the great thing with this tool, and the main reason I want to use it, is because I'm not an artist. So for me, I can do kind of character art fairly well. I can do pixel art, sprite art kind of okay if I spend enough time on it. But give me a whole screen to draw on. I was drawing in multi-paint, okay. Give me a whole screen to draw on, and there's no way I can come up with images like this. It just doesn't happen for me. I don't have the skills to do this. And unfortunately, I've got a few things that I'm working on that I need bitmaps for, and one of the biggest ones is Doc's map screen. It's kind of like the Parasol Stars one. It has planets on it, and the planets will kind of grey out when they're not unlocked, and when you unlock them, they'll appear in a colour, and they need to be quite detailed, and it needs to look like a nice bitmap. And I've just been struggling to think how on earth I'm going to do that. This tool will allow me to do that really easily. So I'm going to demonstrate by grabbing some images. So let's go for a planet first. So see, I can hear that. It gets really confused. Thank you for the follow. I actually missed the name there. God damn it. Whoever that was, thank you for the follow. Let me check my activity.
Thank you for the follow, Gareth Hubble, as well. And thank you for the follow, Prudensis. I can't even say that. Yeah, welcome to the stream, guys. There's draw cursor is never where my mouse is, so I can't really use it. That's to do with your zoom settings. So like if I draw now, you can't see it. If I draw anything other than 100%, actually it's not too bad at the negative values, but if I go like 110%, like that, let me refresh it. Oh, it's actually, you fix this. Yeah, it does weird things when you start messing with the zoom values, so that's probably what's going on with that. Hi, Dr. Miz, welcome to the stream. Cool. Yeah, and one thing I do want to do is get it working on my note, because my note's got the little stylus with it, so I kind of want to have a play around on the tube in the morning and make the best of that. So my favorite thing about this, as I say, is the fact that we can save out images from anywhere, any size as well. Really doesn't matter. So let's take. I'm not going to do a flat Earth. That just annoys me that that's even there. Let's do this one here. That's a nice picture. And of course, it's not actually there, is it? Let's just save that image. Okay. So if I'm going to create a folder in our demo here. So let's create new folder for assets. I'm just going to put some stuff in here. So I'm going to call this Earth. Wow, that's the worst typing ever. Okay. And what it allows you to do is then import that image into Mcdraw. Just get rid of that. Don't need that anymore. I was on the right page all along, wasn't I? You go to image, import, and this will let you import an image. I'm not sure what formats are supported here. I haven't found a format that hasn't been supported, but I think I have been using. Oh, why is that not working? Let me refresh. Something seems to have crashed here. I think that's a browser issue because that's behaving strangely. Let me try closing that and reopening it. Oh, it's not even closing the browser. What is going on? Brave browser. Here we go. Let me try ending that and reopening it. What? Oh, something has crashed completely. This is the first time this has happened, so I don't think it's anything to do with this, because I have been using this quite a bit today. So Brave has crashed on me. For some reason I can't close it in here properly either. It's opened loads of copies of it or something. Use the file browser. Yeah, I can't get anything though. That's the frustrating thing. I can't move this or. I don't see it. That's the thing. It's kind of locked that browser up completely. Yeah, Alt Tab. I can see it there. I just can't. I can't interact with this browser window at all. Honestly, today. Weirdly, I have these weird empty things. I can't end them either. No, why? No, not on a weekday. Yeah, I'm not having a good day, am I?
Oh, this is so frustrating. I had this all. This was working as well. I tested this before the stream. Let's open a new tab. See if that actually opens. Why all of a sudden has Brave decided not to work? This is the first time Brave has ever crashed on me. There we go. Right, we got rid of it now. Let's try opening a fresh window. There we go. Really strange. I'm not sure what went on there. Okay, so I think that's correct. My settings was at 100%. Let me reload it at 100%. There we go. Right, so image import. Why is it struggling? It's crashed again. The image import has crashed. Let's try it in Chrome. Could be something to do with Brave, but I have been using it today and I've not had any issues with it, so. Okay, I'm getting the same on Chrome as well. Is this... Can anybody else try that? Can somebody else go to Mcdraw.xyz and just give that a try? Just to make sure. Because it has crashed the browser for me on both Chrome and here. Works fine. Okay, that's weird. And I've kind of lost all control now as well. Oh! Just decided to open it now, right, because I was just being slow, I think. There we go, right, okay, so let's go to the desktop. Why is it being that slow? That's really odd. Okay, is this... No, this is Chrome. Let's close that one down. Let's go back to Brave. Right. Image, import. There we go. Strange. Yeah, probably. Actually, am I running it from the NAS drive? No, the NAS drive should be quick anyway, so... Really strange. Okay, it's fine though, so... Okay, so you can load it in and it allows you to, in Mcdraw, you can see that image, and unlike most kind of conversion tools that will convert to C64, it doesn't care how big the original file is. It will scale to best fit, keeping the aspect ratio, which is really nice, which is something many of these tools will require an exact sized object. You have to go into another program like GIMP or Photoshop and resize it to the correct size format for that. This does it for you, and then you can mess around with you know, the YUV settings, the hue, saturation, lightness, and the RGB. You can play around with the contrast as well. It's probably not the best file in the world because there's a lot of darkness in this image, but you can see you can use it quite easily to generate something. So let's generate this one, and then I'll show you how to load that in, and we'll create a little file that shows you how to load in a Koala file, they're called. I'll explain what that is as well in a minute. And then I'll show you how to convert that into disk loading. You can mess with the dithering, you mess with all sorts. It's a really nice tool. That kind of looks alright. There we go. Bit of dithering on it like that. So you can use this to generate your file, and then once you've generated it, it shows you in here. And this is a true C64 file, properly compatible. And then you can come in and, you know, edit it however you want to edit it. Oops, I've just removed it. Press the buttons at the left of the slider to reset the... Oh, okay, cool. Time for EE. No, it's never time for EE. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to... Actually, tell you what, I'm going to take a quick break. I would ask if you guys have got
some images that you want me to convert, please make them safe for the stream. Anybody who sends me anything that's not safe for stream, I am gonna kick you from the bloody channel, so please don't do that. Just send me some links to some images you want to see. We'll convert them all. I'll show you how to load them in, and we'll build a nice little slideshow thing. So I'll be back in 2 minutes, guys. Right, I'm back. You can put it in. You can put it in chat if you want. That's fine. I'm going to open it in a different window though, just to verify it first. But feel free to open it in chat, to drop it in chat if you want. So I've got the car from today on Discord. We're going to do that as well. I have already cut. You put it in Dissect requests. Okay, let's check the Dissect requests one. Okay. It is indeed safe for stream, so I'll accept that one. So I'll call this one Bitty. Oh, that's a WebP. I'm not sure if that's going to be supported. Zooperdan can tell me if that is or not. Let's have a look at this one. See what Gunstar has produced. Oh, amateur. Yeah, he was right. It's a flower. Pretty flower. Another one from Gunstar as well. So the great thing with Kickassembler is it has support for Koala files already. A Koala file is basically all the data that the C64 needs to display a multicolored bitmap. Just consecutively. So yeah, WebP is an unusual format. I'm not sure what it is. I think it might actually just be a JPEG format, a type of JPEG format. Oh, I don't even know what that is. What is that? That looks like a drain pipe. I'm gonna call it pipe. There we go. Cool. You put one in Dissect also. Okay, let's have a look. Oh, cool. So this will be an interesting test actually, because this is looks like it's using mostly C64 colors, so that would be an interesting one to try out. Let me just load my Twitch up on that screen. I like to have it on here just so I can see that everything's running fine. Yeah, let's try that one first before we do this one. So let's have a go. Let's see what happens. Let's just see what happens if we try and load it first. I'm guessing it's not even showing. Okay, let's try renaming it JPEG. It's showing up now. Oh yeah, there you go. So it does work. So let's play around with the settings a little bit to get the kind of the look we want. We want to kind of have some of his coat showing, maybe a bit of dithering just to show there. Yeah, so clicking these does reset the values. Saturation will give you a grayscale, which is Commodore's very good at doing grayscales because it's got lots of shades of grey. Oh, Colt's got one as well. What's this one? As I say, I'm going to check it on the other screen first. Not that I don't trust you guys, but oh, cool. Yeah, that'd be a good one as well. Actually, let's do that because theoretically this should just work without much to do in terms of the conversion. So let's put some color into this. Let's mess around with the. Oh, that's kind of nice with the blue jacket. No, actually, I prefer it like that. I think. Reset those. There we go. So let's have that. So once you've got your image, however you want to have it, I mean, the way I'm going to do this with the Doc2 stuff is I'm going to import it, and then I'm going to use the tool to tidy it up a bit as well. So you could spend some time kind of tidying this up, changing the colors as you see fit. Obviously, the tool is having to
Okay, let's... Oh, Amiga Boing Ball, that's a good one. The tool is having to kind of find the closest colours based on the image that you do, and while the sliders do allow you to kind of shift the colours around a little bit, it may be that the colours it comes up with aren't ideal for what you want, so you might want to kind of change some colours. I don't know if there is... Yeah, there is a colour replace here, so you can... I'm not sure how this works, but you could probably use this to kind of... I need to kind of do some more experimentation with how the tool works, so I'll probably be bugging Zooperdan for some help on that at some point. Let me just check there's no other files in here. Cool. All right, we've got a few to work with. So when you export this, now if we export as... Well, you can export as a PRG. This is the really cool thing about this, actually. You do have... where is it? Is it in here? No, where is it? There is a preview button somewhere. Preview, there you go. So you can actually see what that would look like in Vice. My computer's probably going to have a fit trying to run Vice now, so I'll leave it for a second. But Zooperdan has very kindly included a version of Vice as well. Replaces background with foreground color. Okay. And so you can see what it would look like running in Vice, and this is what we've got. Looks pretty good. You can also export a PRG file, so this will create a PRG file that we can do the same thing. We can export it to the desktop, load up Vice, and drop the PRG into Vice. Oh god, my palette's awful. I think I need to change my palette, but there you go. So you can create the PRG file. But what we're going to do is we're going to export a KLA file. So I'm going to export this. I'll export it into the same folder, into the assets folder. And we'll work on this one first. So we'll come back to Mcdraw shortly. I want that. I want that icon. Do I have that icon? I don't think I have that. How do I use that? I want that. I want that thing. So, oh, a caricature on Discord. Oh yeah, that's good. Let's stick that in as well. So we've got one from Stoker. Did you draw that? That's really nice. Of course you did. You drew the little Stoker dragon, so it doesn't surprise me. Okay, so a KLA file. What's a KLA file? Right. So if we open this up in, oh no, that's the PRG. It's not the one I wanted. If we open a KLA file up in Hex Editor, it has a small header on it, which is the kind of the PRG load location for it. And then it has all the bitmap data, all the color data, all the data you'd need to load this up. Now, if you look at the Kick Assembler documentation, which I'll bring up now, this one, oh god damn, no, that was the wrong one. And you do a search in here for Koala. They're called Koala files, I think, because there's a tool called Koala Paint. This shows you how to load it in. I'm just going to copy this block of code here and drop it into Kick Assembler and explain what it's doing. So let's create a new file. Let's call it slideshow.asm. Save that out. There we go. Right, and paste this code in. So the first thing you need to do is create the Koala template string, which is basically a way of it's used in the load binary here. As a way of telling the assembler the layout of a Koala file. This is the standard layout for a Koala file. So you get the bitmap at 0, and then the screen RAM at this location, color RAM at this location, and a background color here as well. So you can kind of keep this constant the same. You don't need to change that. This is fully compatible. Actually, forget that. Check now. You have the. I'm guessing I do, but I've not. For do channel points. Actually, I check now. You have okay. How do I? What is the? Cheers, Wicked Luna. Okay. Cheers, Wicked Luna. Hang on, do I just type that? I think I do, don't I?
Hey, there we go. Cool. I do have it. That's awesome. I like that. I don't know why I can't see the other remotes on here. Okay, cool. I like that. Thanks, Chiz, for that. That's a really good one. It works really well as an icon as well as an emote. Okay, yeah. So you can keep this Koala template string the same because this is the exact format that Mcdraw is outputting. And then you just need to load these files in. So let's just rearrange this program a little bit to make it work for us. So we'll move the basic upstart to here. We'll make it basic upstart 2. We're going to load into this location here, which is, let's tidy this up a bit. So these directives that we've got here, hang on, what is that? Oh yeah, that's a label. Okay. So we're assigning the loaded file into a variable called picture. I'm also going to move that down to here as well, so it matches. This one here. I'm going to call it picture 1 because we're going to have multiple pictures. And then these fill directives just fill the memory at this location with various things. So we're getting the size of the screen RAM and filling it with screen RAM. We're getting the size of the color RAM and filling it with color RAM. Getting the size of the bitmap itself and then filling that data up. So this is actually filling the memory with that stuff. I'm going to move this program to somewhere slightly different. I'm going to call this entry. I'm going to get rid of that. And I'm going to move this up to, where are we here? So we're at OC100. So let's move this to like OA100. That should be plenty of room to do our work. Oh, temp bars. So we've got another one. Let's stick that one in. Elvis. There we go. There we go. That's a good one. Oh yeah, we've got plenty to work with there. And then the rest of this code is just grabbing the data and assigning it to the right place in memory. So we'll leave this program here. This is fine. This is the code that we're going to run whenever a bitmap is loaded. This is just making sure we basically have an infinite loop so the bitmap stays on screen. And the only other thing I think we need to change here is this get background color. So it's grabbing it once from here. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to shift that from there. I'm going to do it after this loop here. And instead of getting it like this, I'm going to assign that value somewhere. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to assign it to the end of screen RAM here. So I'm just going to put this at 0FFF like that, and oops, wrong button, and I'm just going to assign a byte for that there, like so, and then here I can just load 0FFF. Okay, and now we just need to load the right picture, so we're going to load assets, and our picture is called bitty.koala. And we need the Koala template stuff there as well, so let's get rid of that. So this is a very, very simple bitmap loader. Hopefully if we run this now, oh, I need to put entry here. So I've got 5 errors. Unknown symbol picture. Oh, because it's picture 1, picture 1, picture 1, picture 1, picture 1. There we go. Okay, let's try. Yeah, let's try that. And there we go. We've got it there. So, are you going to play Millie and Molly later? No, I'm probably not going to play games tonight. I'm feeling really tired tonight. I was actually asleep a little bit before the stream, but I do want to go back and play that at some point. Hey Prince Phase, welcome to the stream. And hey Jury as well, welcome to the stream. Is color RAM 1K or 2K? Color RAM is 1K, yeah, at 4 bits. Oh yeah, Old Tower. Old Tower is a game, I think it was on the Mega Drive, and I think it was either on the Spectrum or the Mega Drive first, I can't remember, but it was done on one of those, ported to the other, and then it's been ported to the C64, and it looks really good as well. It was a game I was looking at actually towards the end of last year as a game to potentially to port myself, but then I saw somebody had started doing it, so there was no point. But there you go, we've got a file loading in, we've got a Koala file loading in. So now what we're going to do is we're going to turn this into something that will use the disk loader to do it. So Spectrum or Mega Drive, yeah, it's weird, but yeah, it was done on one and then ported to the other. I think it was done on a Mega Drive first and then ported to the Spectrum, but I may be wrong. I don't know. Recommended screen color only into one as they each use 4 bits. Yeah. I mean, technically you could do that. I mean, obviously loading that quickly to screen would cause a bit of a problem, but you could definitely do it. Oh, actually, can you do it? Because I think, hang on, you've got screen. Oh, you might not be able to do that because I think you use both nibbles of screen RAM. I can't remember. I'd need to look it up. Okay, right. So we're going to make this load from Cartridge. So let's go over to our cart file in here. So we absolutely need these first sections. We can trim it down a little bit. We'll make this work from both disk and cart. But let's copy this entire section over first. So copy that and go and stick that in our slideshow at the top. So we can leave the Koala template at the top. That's absolutely fine. But actually, do you know what? I'm going to move it down. I'm going to move it down to here because this is kind of actual code down here. We'll keep the loader in the same place. The install method is fine. Once it's installed, it's erased. We can write over it, and the first thing the disk loader will do is load it into this location, which will install the disk loader at this location, and then overwrite everything else. Zero page we will use here, and other than that, everything is absolutely fine here. So let's start with the disk version, for the cartridge version first. Let's go and change our bat file to, instead of loading main.asm, to load slideshow. Let's change this to magic desk and change this to CRT here. Game & Watch compilation cart after this stream. Actually, that would be a really good thing to do, and you could use this cart loader to do that as well, quite easily. Especially if you use XMizers. If you create a load of XMized PRGs, it'd be very easy to get that working with this system. So slideshow.cart, there we go. So just to reiterate what this make file is doing, this line is compiling the file, compiles it as a binary. Actually, it's not that's compiling as a binary. Oh, it's the directive up here that tells it to write as a binary. So the first line is the compiler. The second line takes a node script and uses it to convert that binary into a proper cartridge file. And then the last step is just running the cartridge. So you just need to make sure that the file names are the same all the way through. Slideshow, 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 slideshow. It's correct. Let's close the files we don't need in here. Okay, so we import the cart loader. We need to call it slideshow here, so it outputs the right file. We set its magic desk, and then these are our setups. So
We'll come back to this in a minute because we're not doing the disk yet. We just need to get it working on here. And we will create the first file. We'll call it boot because that's what it is. We'll change this to boot like so. And this is actually at 0800, so we'll change its location here. And then what we need to do is we need to wrap that in a sudo PC thing. So you can see here, this is what it looks like. So I'm going to copy this and just comment it out above so we can use it as a reference. So I'm going to stick that here, just comment it out. So this is the kind of format we need to do it in. We're not going to do the disk yet, we'll come back to the disk. So we just need to convert it to look like this. So the way we do that is we're calling it boot, which we've got here. Let's get rid of that second line for now. So we'll create a label here called boot. We need to create a label at the end here to say it's the end of the file. So the reason it needs this second label is because the cartridge loader needs to know exactly how long this is in order to kind of allocate the right amount of memory, and to also know the exact address of each file on the cartridge as well. A rumor is going around there might be a 1,000 follower 12-hour stream on Saturday. Well, that depends on Twitter. So let me have a look where I am actually. I'm 10 followers short, so if I can get 10 more followers, then I will do a 12. Well, I don't know. I will do quite a lot. Or are you talking about your stream? I think you should do a 12-hour coding stream, Hayes. I'd like to see that. I'd like to see that. Yeah, it's stupid Russian bots. They've kind of ruined my fun there, haven't they? Okay, so we need to create this section, which we've done, and now we need to create a sudo PC. So this is just to tell the cartridge that actually this is at 0800, which is this location here. Like so. So we can get rid of that now. And that's this entire block here, which I will indent so it's in the proper place. Like so. And so now this file will load up immediately when it loads up. But now we need the pictures as well. So we'll start adding the pictures in here. And we'll just call them pick 1, pick 2, so on. So pick 1, pick 1. And that is at OC100. So we just put OC100 here. And we need to do the same here. Now, the one thing we need to be careful of here is that we make sure we fill all the gaps as well. So there shouldn't be any gaps because we can't pick 1. Hang on, let me just put these bits in. When you use sudo PC, what you can't do is in the middle of here do this. It won't allow you to do that because you're already defining a location here. So you have to make sure that if there are any gaps between these things, that you keep them filled. But I'll show you how to do that. It's quite easy to do. So sudo PC here, and this is OC100. There we go. Now we need to fill these gaps. So this doesn't take any memory up. This is just loading it for the assembler to know what to do with it. Yeah, do a 12-hour coding stream, Hayes. I'd like that. I really enjoyed your last coding stream. It was really good fun. So the way we can fill this out is after every one of these, if we just do a fill instruction and we take the memory address here, the next memory address, and do -*,0. What this will do is it will fill any gap from the end of here to here with zeros, and we can just do the same for each of these bits. Don't need to do it on the last one because we don't need to fill that gap at the end here. It's just the gap between things. Right, so like that. There we go. Yeah, he was in the zone. It was really cool as well. I really enjoyed it. yeah, do a 12-hour coding stream. I will probably, although if you do a 12-hour coding stream, I'm probably not going to stream on side. I'd probably rather watch that instead. So okay, so now we've created a bank for this. One thing to note is you can make these banks as big as you want. Obviously, I mean, they have to be within 64K or else they're not going to load into memory, but 2 hours of me explaining to people who haven't played the game why I've chosen it to do it a certain way. Yeah, you can make these as big as you want. So even though the banks on the cartridge are only 8 kilobytes, if you go over 8 kilobytes, the cartridge loader will know to switch banks and start loading from the next bank. So that's already handled for you. So all we need to do now is create. Actually, I'm going to move this down a little bit. I'm going to move this down to 0900 just to give us a bit more room. There we go. So this is before we do any of this kind of setup. So this is our setup here. We can load the first bank in, and the way we do that is we go loader. So it says it here. There we go. Loader, load file, and the first thing we want to load is pick one. There we go. Right. That's all we need. We don't need this basic upstart anymore because it's loading from cartridge. It's just going to load the first one, which is this one. So it's going to load this up, start running it immediately. And the first thing this is going to do is it's going to load this data into memory. So let's try that. Hopefully this just works. Now we've got some errors. Can't start a new sudo block. Oh, I've left one of the stars in. Oh, yeah, see, after saying you couldn't do that, I've gone and left these in, so I need to get rid of those. Actually, a good idea if you're converting code like this is just to comment them out so you can see where things are supposed to be. So here we go. Okay, that seems to have loaded and written, and there we go. We've got an image, and now it's loaded from cartridge, which is really cool. So what we're going to do now is we're going to add a little timer in here somewhere. We'll do it here. And what this is going to do, this is going to wait 10 seconds or so. And we'll do that by... What we'll do, first of all, is we'll check when we reach a certain line on the screen. So we'll check for line FF, because that's kind of the bottom of the screen. It can only happen... in the lower 8 bits. You can't have one FF for instance, so it's a good place that's only going to get hit once, and compare that to D012, and if it's not equal, go back. So now this is going to wait for line FF. We'll stick a little counter in here, so we'll have a timer, we'll call it, and that will have a byte value of 00, and at this point we will call this main loop, and we'll decrease timer, and if it's not 0 we'll go back to main loop. So this is going to happen every 5 seconds actually. If we have decreased, then what we're going to do, we're going to grab pick number, and then we'll start that at 0, and so we'll increase pick number. Actually, let's do it with, let's just load X pick number, there we go. Compare X to max picks, which will make a label up here, which we'll fill in when we've added all the files. Max picks, let's just put, how many have we got actually? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, so max picks equals 11. Thank you for the bits, Velociraptor. I did just about hear that. Thank you very much. He just needs to make sure to make a Rainbow Islands alarm clock to wake him up every 15 minutes. Kind
Can't you write your own scan converter, read through, say, JPEG, and just have it convert to 16 colors yourself at its resolution? I don't know. That'd be a question for Zooperdan, I think. For me, I'm not. I would like to try doing that at some point, but to be honest, now Zooperdan's done the Mcdraw tool, there's not really much point. He's kind of fulfilled the exact need that I had, so I have no reason to do that. So this is just making sure that we loop this value back round to 0 again, and then here we'll store it back in pick number. Now this is where it gets a little bit inefficient, because this actually is a macro. So what that's doing is it's putting this block of code in every time. You could replace this with a function call instead. However, it does have this file name parameter that it needs from disk, and on where is it? On here, it doesn't actually use the file name directly, but it does have some weird lookups and stuff. So it's probably a better idea to keep it as a macro where you can. I've certainly kept it like that everywhere else. It's only using about, let's have a look, for Cartridge, it's using, let's see, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 bytes. It's using 10 bytes for Cartridge, and for disk it's using 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 10, 12, 14, 20, 23 plus the 5. So it's using a little bit more on disk. If you keep the file name short, it will use less. But to be honest with you, it's probably all right, unless you're really struggling for memory, which if we are, we might just have to shift some of these things along a little bit. But screen RAM is being used here. We can always push screen RAM to somewhere else. Maybe move this up into another bank if we start running out of room. So just memory to hold 2 picks and alternate between displaying so I can load on the fly into the unused area. I can't remember the loader I used. Yeah, I mean, we're not going to do anything too complicated here. We're not going to load into a different bank. We're just going to keep loading into the same bank. I just want to demonstrate how you can use the multi-loader stuff. But yeah, Colt's right. If you wanted to do this properly, what you would do is you would use 2 Vic banks. You would have one which you would have a pointer to say load the next file into this Vic bank, which you could handle by just basically changing these load addresses here, and then loading the next file into the bank that's currently not being used, and then switch when it's loaded. But with Cartridge, it should be pretty quick anyway. We shouldn't see very much of a glitch, and I think I'm not sure, but I think my loader will blank the screen out during that moment, so you shouldn't see too much of a glitch at all, if any, really. I think my screen's a little bit too wide. There we go. I wondered why I couldn't read the text properly. Okay, so at this point now we've got a picture number, and we can start doing some checks. So if it's not equal, we'll go to let's just, can I use numbers like that? I'm not sure if that's a valid, probably not actually. Let's do it like that. This is where we're going to put the pick loaders in here, and then we need to jump to setup at the end of it. Okay, so is it, no, that's actually, that's set up. It would be this one here. Jump to display. There we go. So it's a little bit inefficient doing it like this because of the way that these work. You might want to kind of refactor it into a jump table of some kind. Actually, let's relabel that to pick 0 so it kind of matches the format that we've got. So pick 0. There we go.
So this will load this file, and then we need to jump to display, and we just basically, for every version here, from here on, we just compare X with the number that we want. Branch if not equal. In fact, we just do. Let's just do plus like this. I think is probably the better way, and then I don't have to bother with those stupid numbers in there. There we go. Jump to 0. Otherwise, display that file like so, and then we can just copy this all the way down. So this would be pick 2, like so. What I'm going to do though now is I'm just going to do those 3, and I'm going to set them all to pick 0. I just want to make sure that it's not going to break at this point. And this is a kind of catch-all here. This will be the last one. So actually the last one would just be like that, whichever pick 11 or pick 10 or whatever it will be. Oh, this is not even catch-all, is it? It's like a fall through or default. Cool. So not F7, got to remember to press F8 and got to be on the right file. Branch is not equal plus. There we go. So we might just see a little flicker as it changes every 5 seconds. If at all, maybe it's too quick for us to even notice. Let me just check what's actually going on here. Actually, let's do it in the stick a breakpoint here. No, sorry, here. Just want to make sure that that number is increasing. Oops, wrong button again. We'll test it with a second image in a second. So yeah, it has indeed. So X has become 1. X has become 2. All right, let's stick another image in. So let's go back to Mcdraw again, which is not that window, it's this window, and let's try importing another image. So let's import the car next, actually. So again, just come in here, set it how you want to do. I think I messed with contrast on this one to get it to look kind of nice. I feel like there's not enough green in it, maybe. There we go. Maybe there's too much red. Maybe, yeah, there we go. That's the one. That kind of looks good. Play around the dithering until you get the desired effect. Obviously, the more dithering you put in, the less detail you're going to have, but you'll have smoother change between the colours. To be honest, I'm not. Oh, I'm going to report that error for you. There you go. It has worked though, so there you go. So let's export that as a KLA file. Let's call it car.kla. There you go. And so now we can change pick 1 here to pick 1. We'll make sure that that's loaded in here by adding pick 1. That loads into exactly the same location. So copy this entire block of code. We're just going to call it pick 1. And actually we can, I'm not sure we need to change. I'm going to leave it as it is. It might just work with that variable name, so I hope it does. I can't remember if, I think because these are in the same scope, this might not work, but let's give it a try. It might say that the variable's already defined. Yes, it did. It's complaining. Picture 1 is already defined. Okay, so let's change these to match. So pick 0 here. You could also define these in a list in one kind of block here instead, which would be a little bit quicker, I guess. But I'm just going to define them as we go along like this. It should be fine. Because we're getting an error here because this is already defined. But as I said before, because these are exactly the same format, coloram is going to be in the same place. So when it goes to reference coloram up here, where is it there? Even though we're just going to leave it in here and we're going to remove it from here, it still points to the same location. It's still going to point to 1C100. So this is absolutely fine to just have it in one and not in the rest. That's something that takes a bit of getting used to with pseudo blocks, but it's once you've figured it out, it's kind of quite easy to do. There we go. Okay, so we do get a little wash as the next picture comes down. We can get rid of that if we just blank the picture out, but actually I kind of like the way that appears, so I'm going to leave that for now. We can look at how that actually works soon. It's probably to do with this block here, colouring it in. No, actually it's to do with the binary being loaded. So if we made a small change here and did something like 3B store D011, I think 3B is an invalid mode. Let's have a look. Invalid modes. So one way you can stop the screen from drawing is by setting a mode that it can't actually draw. And the easiest way to do that is turn bitmap mode on and extended background mode on at the same time. So it's not 3B, it's 5B, I think. No, 6B, sorry. So you do that like so, and then in the main loop in the display, which is, oh, we already had 3B here, there you go. You just put it back here at this point. Oh, actually you would do it at the end of this loop here. So do it there like so. So now when we run this, it will blank out while the next picture displays. And I'd like to slow it down a little bit, so I'm actually going to create a little toggle here. I'll show you what I'm going to do with that. It's really simple. You could do this by having a 16-bit timer, but I'm a bit lazy, so I'm going to do it this way. And the way I'm going to do it is I'm just going to increase the timer toggle. Load timer toggle and it with 0, 1, branch if not equal main loop. So now the timer's only going to happen every other frame. Should slow it down a little bit. You'd like to see a close-up of my PC. I don't know how close I can get this camera actually. It's kind of hard to see. I have got a picture actually. I'll post a picture in my Discord at some point. Actually, let's see if I can grab it on Google Photos. You might get a better idea of what's actually inside the bloody thing. But you can see from that we've already got a fairly basic slideshow working. And if you look, actually, it's not outputting the code usage. Hang on, let me open another window. Hang on, I need to do this over here because this is code I shouldn't be showing you. Desktop. Okay, because there is a little piece of code you can add towards the end somewhere. I think it is. Ah, yeah, there you go. I will add this at the end. So at the end of your code down here, if you just write something like this, what this is doing is just calculating how much space is being used. So I'll change it to Magic Desk because that's what we're interested in. It's just the label there. So this will work out how much space is currently being used and compared to how much is actually on the disk, and then compared to how much is actually available on the cartridge. And then when you run this, you'll see at the end here we're using 5% of the cartridge to load that in. So this is the full size of the cartridge. This is what we're using. We're using 5.51%, and a small fraction of that is being used for the actual for the cartridge header stuff. So about 2 kilobytes of that has been used for the cartridge header. It looks, looking at this, it's about 12, just over 12k per bitmap. You could use compression as well to make that a bit smaller. In fact, you get it quite a lot smaller if you did that. Yeah, it is a screen inside. I'm just trying to find, actually, I've got a better screenshot of what's going on inside so you can see. Let's just try and find it. Where the hell is it? Okay, apparently I don't have a recent, but I have a kind of one just after I built it, so I'll share that one. It'll give you an idea of what's inside. Let me create a shareable link for that. Oh, not that one. Ah, damn it. Create link. Copy. There you go. I think that should give you access to that photo. It shows what's inside it. It has changed ever so slightly since that picture. I've changed the lighting a little bit, and I've started adding proper coloured cables in. Okay, so let's do some more pictures then. Let's add the rest in now. So let's just generate them all first, and then we'll go in. So so the cart worked all right. Let's try another one. So import. Let's go through them in order. So dig dug. So interestingly, this, if I turn the dithering off, actually no, it has done a pretty good job of picking it. Let me reset all the values. Obviously it's not exactly on character space, they're slightly bigger, so there is some, I guess the best way you could call it is filtering, which is probably to do with the scaling actually. I reckon if you mess with the scaling, you could get rid of that. But it doesn't matter, we'll just, I mean, it's good enough for what we're doing. And you can always go in and tidy this up, so you could go in here and say, okay, I want to get rid of this kind of outline here. Oh, obviously you'd use the right tool though. Oh, what have I done? Let's load back in again. Yeah. It's got a PlayStation 4 Pro as well in the back. It's all wired up through the ATX power supply. There we go. Right, let's export that. So this is dig dug. Let's import the next one. So this will be interesting because this is now that is interesting because this is actually. Now, have I taken this? I can't remember where this screenshot comes from. I'm pretty sure this is the screenshot that I created using what's it called? Pixen, I think. So interesting that this doesn't show up correctly. It's missing some of the colours. Maybe it's a contrast thing. Ah, there we go. That's looking. Yeah, there we go. That's pretty spot on. Yeah, it's a Raspberry Pi. Ah, there we go. Yeah, thank you. I keep thinking the contrast down there is what it should be, but yeah, that's absolutely spot on. That's really good. I like that. It's captured it exactly as it should be. Cool. All right, let's export that one. That's doc2. As you can see, this tool is really good. I mean, as I say, in the past when I've tried to do this, I've spent a long time messing around with tools and never managed to get the results exactly as I like. And the thing with this tool is it's giving you the same results, but it's allowing you to change those results. It's allowing you to kind of see how they would look on the fly. And so, you know, the standard out of the box kind of everything on neutral is probably what you'd get from the other tools, but a lot of the time that's not good enough. You need this flexibility to be able to add more detail in, or you know, add more dithering in exactly at the levels you want. And the other tools don't do that, and it's so nice that this does let you do that. It's kind of not the best image to. I think the images with big dark areas like that are quite hard to get to look right. So it's a really nice tool, and I'm really grateful for Zooperdan for sharing this with me, because this has absolutely saved my life when it comes to Doc 2. The planet screen in particular, I just had no idea I was going to do it, so I'm really pleased that I can finally put that bit to bed once and for all. Okay, so here we've got Elvis. Let's try resetting everything. Okay. Yeah, there you see, if you start adding the dithering in, you start getting it. So if I just put the dithering to off, you can see it kind of loses a lot of the detail around here. But when you start adding the dithering in, you get the detail. Well, actually, you're technically losing detail, but it's being added because your eye is tricked into believing that there's color gradients that aren't really there. So yeah, it's yeah, exactly, Cole. It was such a pain in the ass to do any conversion, and this is just so much nicer. It's so easy to use, and it's the fact that I can do it in the browser as well means I can do this anywhere I want. If I see a picture I like, I can quickly kind of download. I can even do it on my phone. I can download it on my phone and convert it on the fly and see what it looks like. And it's really nice to be able to do that. Actually, I wonder what this would like. Oh, no, I think I actually like the original colours, I think, so let's reset those. There we go. And it's so user friendly. When you look at kind of the other tools that are out there for drawing, they're just not very user friendly. They're not I want Bitty, not Elvis. They really do kind of lack that kind of usability, whereas you've obviously spent some time, Zooperdan, kind of thinking about usability. I mean, I don't know if you come from a UX background or not, but you've definitely got this nailed. Okay. Yeah, if the website goes down, we can't use it. Although, I mean, is this all done client side, or is there some server side stuff going on here? Because you could always wrap this in. Electron or something, and have it as a standalone app as well, without really having to change much of your code, if any. Yeah, if it's all client side, just wrap it in an Electron wrapper, and it wouldn't take a lot to do. In fact, there's probably tools out there that will just take web page code and run it from Electron. Okay, import. Let's go with these flowers. Okay, so this looks like it is going to need some playing around with. Okay, so let's try. Okay, add in. Oh, this is hard to get the colours right on this one. Okay, the saturation probably needs to go up a little bit. So what colour was it? It was pink, wasn't it? Oh god, this is a hard one. Dithering doesn't seem to help at all, really. And the problem is there isn't really a gradient on, well, like a strong gradient on here. It's more that it can't figure out what that colour is. It seems to be struggling with the pink. And it can't kind of distinguish. Let's have a look at the original pitch. You see a lot of it is kind of solid around there, so that's what we're aiming for, and this is what we've got. Let's just reset everything. So it's kind of picked up. This is kind of fine. This patterny stuff here in the background, the kind of stuff there is kind of all right. It's picked the colours up here, but this, because it's such a light colour, it's confused. It can't really work out what to do. So I think we need to kind of try and edge that bit towards pink somehow. Let's see, that is kind of doing it, but then it adds too much in. Maybe we play around with the lightness. It kind of destroys the middle again. This is a tricky one. Yeah, it's really difficult to get this one. I think, yeah, because the colours are so close. There's not a lot of difference between here and here. And this is so close to like a grey colour that it's not. Let's try more dithering. Yeah, let's whack the dithering up on full. We can always knock it back to get rid of these edge bits, but let's knock it there and try messing around with some values. So, oh, that's kind of nice. See if we can hue shift it to the right pink. That's. I mean, it's changed the colour, but it's kind of along the right lines. Knock it back a little bit. There we go. It is a very difficult image. That's a tricky one. I mean, that would be difficult to do on most setups. The colour changes are so subtle, as is evidenced by the way it's dithering as well. Look at all the different dither patterns you've got going on here. I think that's about as good as we're going to get without. I mean, the colours are wrong, but they're representative of the image. So let's go with that one. It's a tricky one. That's Gunstar's amateur photography there. Okay, Stoker's Gene Wilder. Okay, so this is struggling to fit because of the scale. So I don't know whether to go for that or whether we zoom in on Gene's face instead. Oh, do you know what would be nice, Zooperdan, if you could drag it around a little bit as well. I don't know if that's something you've got planned, but that kind of would be nice if you could center the image how you want. Yeah, panning. That's the word I was looking for. Panning. Okay, let's play around. Let's reset everything. It's always good. Oh, see, that looks amazing. I like that. Bit of dithering just to add the detail. Not too much though. I think that's probably about right. Let's play with the contrast a little bit. Oh yeah, there we go. Look at that. That's really cool. I like that. Let's play with the hue to see. No, hue reset. That's good. You use the C64. 8 shows as well. That's really nice. Yeah, that looks kind of awesome. I wonder if I can. I don't want to ruin too much of the detail. See, too much dithering and you do lose detail, because technically you are losing detail when you dither. In return for perceived extra colours. Yeah, this is Willy Wonka, isn't it? That's what it looks like to me, anyway. I assume it is, anyway. That's the impression I get from the picture. So let's export that. It's cool. I like that. Yeah, Willy Wonka. Yeah, thought so. Okay, here's another tricky one. Actually, that comes out alright. I'm guessing because of the reds and the browns. Red, brown and pink is quite easy for the C64 to do, so that kind of looks alright. Let's do some adjustments. Yeah, contrast starts turning it a bit grey. Trying to get some feeling of depth down this side of the pipe. Tiniest adjustments on these. No, not that one. Let's try with this one. No, not that one. No, okay, this was the right one to mess with. That is, again, that's a hard one to do, yeah. That's in Wonka. YL and contrast are the most useful. Yeah, because I guess they have the biggest impact on the change between colours, don't they, I guess? I mean, they're all essentially doing the same thing, changing the brightness, making the dark areas darker and the lighter areas lighter. but they just do it in slightly different ways. You can see as I move lightness down, has a similar effect as me moving the contrast down as well, just in a different, slightly different color space. Okay, so I'm going to reset that, and I'm going to reset this. I'm going to just move the contrast down instead. Here we go. That'll do for that one. Damn, Gunstar, you make difficult pictures to C64. We need to get you a C64 filter for your camera. Yeah, I honestly think you're onto a winner here with this tool, Zooperdan. It's really, really good. I'd be very surprised if I'm not using it on everything I do from now on. Okay, this one looks a little bit. Oh, I like that. Adding the little green in. That's kind of nice. What colour is that? Plant there. It's pink. Okay, so let's try and make that pink by. That's the kind of pink area there. Saturation's making it more brown. Oh, there we go. There we go. That's nice. Yeah, that's a good one. I called it status instead of statues. I don't know why, so I'm going to rename it to statues. I think we're on the last image now, so I'm gonna import this image. Then I'm gonna go for a quick cigarette, and then when I come back, we'll finish off the slideshow. But as you can see, the tool is really good. I mean, it's so easy to use. Even an idiot, a kind of graphics idiot like me, can use it. And I feel like I feel confident enough now that I can create fairly decent bit. I mean, they're never going to be as good as kind of hand pixeled drawings, but I am going to be able to go into a more kind of free tool like Sprite, drop a load of bitmaps in, make a collage of what I need, get it looking kind of roughly okay if you kind of squint your eyes a little bit in Sprite, load it in through this, which will kind of the lack of resolution and the lack of colors will kind of hide some of that kind of shoddiness that I had in Sprite, and then tidy it up by kind of manually playing around with the pixels and shifting things around. I fully expect that I'm going to be able to do the stuff I need to do, and I'm so grateful for that. You can't believe. Actually, that looks really nice. I like that. Yeah, dithering completely off for this one, I think. Actually, everything reset on this. That's pretty spot on. Yeah, exactly. That's what I want to do. I want to use it as a starting point for a piece of art. I don't have the skills to be able to draw something from scratch, but I do have enough skills in Sprite to be able to kind of form a rough kind of almost like a mood board of what I want, and use that to as a starting point, and then I can pixel the fine details in. I'm all right at kind of small pieces of pixel art. So characters, I'm kind of okay with. I can draw tile sets fairly decently. I mean, I'm not the best in the world, but I can definitely do it. And sprites I can kind of do if I've got enough time, because they're a bit bigger. The bigger art gets, the more complicated it gets for me to do, because you've got to start thinking about things in a whole different way, shading changes and stuff like that. So okay, let's export this. Right. I'm going to go for a quick cigarette. I'm going to call that boing, that's too long to type in. And then when I come back, we'll take all these files. I think I got everything there, didn't I? Yeah. We'll take all these files, we'll drop them in here. It's going to be a very quick kind of job to just copy paste these, and then we'll see how much room we're using up on the cartridge to do that, and then we'll try and implement disk mode as well. So I'll be back in 5 minutes, guys. Well, a bit less than that actually, probably 2 or 3 minutes. Be right back. I pumped the music up a tiny bit. I do need to figure out the kind of music. What do people think of the kind of selection of music? I mean, I don't know if you can hear it very well. I certainly can't. And I'm not hearing any alerts again. There we go, I can hear it now. Stupid speakers. Yeah, I think I'm gonna look at getting some different speakers, because these are just frustrating. Or I might take them apart and see if I can find the circuit that turns it off and just bypass it. But I don't know if it's in there or if it's in the base box. It could be anywhere. Investigate your tool thoroughly. Yeah. So apologies if I have missed any alerts in the past couple of minutes. I'll have a quick check now, just to see if I have. Recent events. There we go. No, I haven't. Okay, good. But yeah, Zooperdan, you've got me sold on this completely. So, okay, let's just add all these extra pictures in. So I think we had 11 pictures, was it? Let me just double check. I definitely set 11 as the thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, 11. Yeah, so we need to go up to pick 10 in here. So the last one will be pick 10 down here. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There we go. So I just need to change all these. So this becomes 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There we go. And now we just need to fill the memory up with our pictures. So pick 2. This is going to be a bit of a ball ache to do, but shouldn't be too much of an issue. Just mind-numbingly boring. I always hate this bit in coding. So let's get the file names up on here. Actually, I can bring them up in the sidebar here, can't I? So we've done B2, we've done car. Let's do dig dug. Dig dug. There we go. Pick 3. Picture 3 all the way through, and this is doc2. Vice Snapshot is a special format. The problem with Vice Snapshot is that it changes between versions as well. So kind of maintaining support for Vice Snapshots is a pain in the ass. I think Charpad does some stuff where it will actually skip a lot of the information. So you might be able to kind of look at how Charpad does it. Because Charpad does work with Vice Snapshots from different versions. So the other problem with that as well is that with Charpad you still have to go and find the data. So you would still have to have some way of kind of searching for the bitmap data within there. Or you could check the memory addresses for the current bitmap that's being displayed. So it's not. I wouldn't say it's a trivial thing to add, but I mean it would be very nice if you could do it. But I wouldn't worry too much if you can't. It's not going to be the easiest thing to implement. But to be honest, you've implemented what you've implemented, so I wouldn't put it past you to come up with something great. So I won't say it's impossible. One thing to note as well is if you do want tiles from that, you can export from Mcdraw into PNG format, and then Charpad can import a PNG and turn it into tiles for you. Well, it can turn it into chars. I'm sure you can. From there, you can turn it into tiles yourself manually. But yeah, there definitely is. There definitely is a way to turn those pictures into character sets as well. Flower. There we go. I'm just wondering if this is going to fit on a disc. I mean, it's definitely going to fit on the cartridge, but I'm not sure about discs, so we shall see. And this is Gene. Picture 8. So I think what I'll do, if enough people are interested, I will put the cart stuff into another repository. I'll leave it in this one for now. If people start asking for features and start using it and are interested, and I get enough interest, then I will I will start moving. Hang on, I've missed one somewhere. Where's Boing? Oh, I've missed Boing. It's up there. Okay, I need to come back to that one. I will put it into a separate repo, and I'll start doing a kind of collaborative effort on it, and we can add more features. So compression is one that would be nice. Some kind of generic disk insert next disk screen would be good. Maybe with a template so it can be changed. I'm trying to think what else. Other cartridge formats as well. I mean, you can use this with compression now if you wanted to. You could just compress all these files using Xamizer, import them here, and then just run them as self-extracting. So you just jump to this location, and then when it's finished, jump back to your draw routine. But there's nothing stopping you from using statues. There's nothing stopping you from using compression with what's there now. I just haven't needed it, so I'm sure I will at some point, so I'll probably have to add it myself at some point. Oh god damn it. Let's do this with 2 fingers like that. There we go. Oh fuck. This is Boing. Cool. So then all we need to do is, so we've got all, these are all defined, 9, 10, 10, yep. They're defined in the loader here, so they're going to load the right things. This shows us what memory this is taking up, so it's probably going to be alright, I think, that. So then the only other thing we need to do is add them all in here as well, so 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oops. I guess probably the most requested thing is probably going to end up being Easy Flash support. And it is something I want to implement, but because I'm working with Gmod 2 at the moment, I don't really need to worry too much about Easy Flash support. But if people do request it, I can spend some time to figure out how to implement that properly. Because the difference between Gmod and Magic Desk and Easy Flash is Easy Flash allows you to use 8KB or 16KB banks, whereas Magic Desk and Gmod are just 8KB banks. So there's a little bit of extra work to make that happen. But I will do a stream at some point where we do some conversions. So one of the things I've been learning to do is take multi-load games and convert them using this this system to work on cartridges as well. And it's actually quite simple to do. If the disk is laid out in files, you can just extract them files, use them like this, loader, add file, and then you just have to find the disk load routine and replace it with the cartridge loader routine, this routine here, and add a little bit of a wrap around it so you know which things to load, which I've managed to successfully do on one game that I'm looking at the moment. Details to follow when it's kind of ready to be shown. Okay, that should be enough, so let's give that a try. Let's close our thing down and just see if we can cycle through all the pictures. Hopefully it works okay at this now. No, something has failed because it's not loading up. Oh, interesting, why isn't that loading up? So we're using 28% of the cartridge. We're using 128, about 140k, so this will fit on a disk properly. Our loader code goes from 900 to A21, so that's fine. So why isn't this loading then? That's weird. Slideshow carts, try again. Okay, let's run through. It's made the cartridge. Let's try just dropping that in. Cannot auto start specified file. Okay, what's that about? I've got Magic Desk here. And all we've done is added extra files in, and these are all unique, that's correct. Get rid of this section. Actually, I'll leave that in because I need the D64 from there. This hasn't changed except for this list of things which are all correct. 88997766, yeah, it's all fine. And these are all unique. Picture 1, picture 2, 3, bit 4, bit 5, all the way down. Okay. For some reason it's not building that cartridge format for some reason. You can check my batch file. Magic Desk, slideshow. Let's just try building it like that. So it does build perfectly fine like that. For some reason it's not loading. Let's try dropping it into Edit so we can just take a look at the header, make sure it's dropped the header in correctly. So it has created a cartridge file, it has created Magic Desk. There should be no reason why this doesn't load, but for some reason it's decided not to. Cannot start, okay. Interesting. Let's have a look through this. Everything looks kind of fine. Let's just try reducing the files down. Maybe one of the files is struggling to load or something. Let's knock off a couple of files. So let's do the first up to 4, which means we just need to get rid of. So let's just put another 4 through here to put the last one in. So pick 4 and just cancel those like so. I've probably messed something up somewhere. If I just slowly work my way through, I'll be able to find out which one I've broken. Okay, so it's loading. Okay. How do I just highlight it all, control and control and / and it will comment an entire block out like that. Okay, so let's add another 2 pictures in so we can find out. So uncomment those. Pick 5 and 6. 5 and 6 is here, so uncomment that block like that. And 5 and 6 in here. Okay, that seems to work. Okay, that's good. It's doing... Well, I mean, it's... Oh, it's just repeating picture 4 over and over again. Okay, that's fine. So let's add 7 and 8 in. 7 and 8, that's these two. Pick 7, pick 8, pick 7 and pick 8. I'm assuming something somewhere is not loading properly, or it's a slightly weird format or something. Okay, that's fine as well. So it's got to be one of these last two. So let's just do pick 9. Just check through, make sure assets, statue, yeah. Picture 10, picture 10. Okay, let's do pick 9. Oop, I missed Oh, there we go. It's picture 9. I had a screen background color you have to set. Yeah, it has. And in Koala format, in Kick Assembler, you can read that in... Oh, I loaded the wrong thing. There we go. Let me try that one. Sorry. No, it is that, not picture 9. In Koala format, you can grab it like this. So you load it into a variable, the entire picture, and then the background color is get background color, and you can just put that somewhere and read that. So yeah, it's defined up here. You can see it on the thing. There you go. That's where it is in the actual file that you load in. But that template allows you to kind of grab them using this format like this, so you can put what you want where you want it. Okay, so the problem is this picture for some reason, statues.koala, picture 9, it's all picture 9, everything looks fine. Pick 9, pick 9. Okay, let's just cancel that, make sure picture 10 is working alright, and that it's not some kind of weird memory problem. I can't imagine it's a memory problem though. It'd be very strange if it is. Oh, something weird is going on there. It's like once it gets above that many, it fails. But I've definitely loaded way more than this into cartridges before, so I'm not sure why that's failing. That might be a bug that I need to look at. I'm going to test it by just loading pick 9 and pick 10 using the picture 8, just to see if that is those two pictures or something else. We'll press F7 instead of F8. Ah no, there's definitely something wrong with that file when it crosses the boundary. So we're at 20B7E, so if I just cancel some of these pictures. Thank you for the follow, No End, and welcome to the stream. So I might need to do some work on that file and figure out what the hell's going on there. So we're now oh, let's just file directory. What? Oh, something's failing here. Oh, pick 10 not found in the file fat. Okay, so I need to turn off picture 10. There's this one here. Thank you for the follow, Darkwing602. Welcome to the stream. Let's really weird. It seems to get to a point where it stops loading these. I'll keep loading that main file. I need to close that. There we go. Okay, so that's working with. So I'm just keep loading the same bit into memory. It seems to be, I think I've broken something down near the bottom. I need to go and have a look at it. Yeah, because that's working as well. So it's not the size on the disk. Oh, actually, it might be the size on the disk because we're not. When we cross this boundary, the moment I add that 9th file in there, it seems to cause a problem. I'm glad I've done this stream now because this has highlighted quite a serious problem that I need to solve. Let's just have a look. Is there anything weird going on here? No. Okay. This is finishing fine. Picture 9. Picture 9. 1D831. I think it crosses over that 128k. Thank you for the subscription, BoltThrower736. Mr. Pick 9, where is that? Is that up at the Pick 9? It's there. 5, 6, 7, 8. Pick 9 is here. Let's try that. No, it seems to struggle. But look, it's crossed over that 128k boundary. I wonder if it's something to do with that. Okay, that's a bug I'm going to have to look at. I'm going to have to take a look at that off stream. I don't want to spend too much time messing with that now. But I've definitely created files bigger than that. I've got a cart that's 300k, I think. Ah, maybe. Let's try something. Maybe it's the Magic Desk format, because I think the Magic Desk format is 128k by default. I might need to change the headers. Let me try changing it to Gmod2. So I probably need to change the headers to make it work with 512k Magic Desk. But I could have sworn I had that working. So let's just turn these two on again. I reckon this might work now. Yeah, welcome to the subs, Bolt Thrower, and welcome to the stream. And thank you for the sub. Yeah, I have a feeling this is going to be a cart format problem. Yeah, and it is. Okay, so I need to. Okay, so there is a bit of a problem with the Magic Desk format. I need to go and take a look at why it's only allowing 128k. I'm guessing Vice looks at it and thinks, well, I can't load that because it's too big for a Magic Desk cart. Which is unusual, so I need to, because I'm sure I've had this working with bigger images, but that Gene Wilder thing looks really good. I like that. But yeah, there you go. That's working from Cartridge now. Thank you for the follow, Amy Drew, and welcome to the stream, dude. So yeah, there we go. We've got it all working from Gmod Cart. So problem with Gmod Cart is you're not going to get that working on your Ultimate 64, unfortunately. Size-wise, where's our size? Actually, where's it printed out the size? It doesn't. Oh, because. I'm just going to write cartridge here. So maybe one thing I do need to add is some kind of checks for the various formats. So this is using 28% of a Gmod cartridge. As I say, it's not doing any compression. You could definitely compress these down way smaller than this, especially things with lots of blacking like this, lots of very compressible areas. Okay, so this is still big enough to fit on a disk, so let's try and make this into a disk format instead. So the first thing we need to do is set this to D64. That's going to define that format, which means we also need to go into here. We don't need to change this because this is just the Cartify. There is no D64 Cartify, but we do need to change this here to actually run a D64 file. What's Commodore mean? Yeah, it's a retro computer from the 80s. So this is, we set D64, now we need to set the disk up. So we define a disk, we define our loader here. I can't remember if we can change this name. I'm gonna change this. I'm just gonna call it slideshow. And we just need to put our pictures in here now as well. So pick 0. These names here are these names here. They need to match. This is what's actually, when you do load a load file, this is what it's looking for. These names here. Segments is just what you call the section at the bottom. I'll show you when we do that how to label that. It's already here. This bit here basically. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So go through this and 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Get rid of that comma on the last one there. Pick 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We do need to load in the boot section as well. So we need to create one called boot here. Booty. It needs to match this here basically, and it needs to match that. So this bit here is always needs to be in there. It will appear on the disk, but this is the little piece of code that the loader kind of file creates, that it deals with loading this. This is like the bit that's going to load without any fast loader. After this, everything else is loaded with the fast loader. And that's the first thing you need to do. You need to tell it to boot into the first file and give it a launch address, which we've got here as well. It was forever in the shadow of the CPC and the ST. No. The Commodore was the best by a long shot, in my opinion. But I am kind of biased. Okay, so now we need to add segment names in, and this is basically the segment name is going to match these names here, and they need to point to the start address of where they are as well, so it knows where to load these things into. So we need to go through and do this to all the picks. So this should be fairly simple. The start address is always the same. We just need to change the number in each one. So pick 1, pick 2. Now obviously the slideshow is going to be a bit slower to load because it's loading from disk, but it is using fast loader, and fast loader will load 64K in about 22 seconds, I think I clocked it at. So actually loading a picture in, which is about, I think it's about, was it about 6K or something that we saw? Hang on, you see it here. Sorry, not 6K, 12K. So you're probably looking at about 4 or 5 seconds per picture, which isn't too bad. And you can use this system to create a loading screen as well. So you could have an area of memory that you reserve for a bitmap while things are loading, and the first thing they do is they load that bitmap in, and then it goes off and does other things. I mean, at the moment I'm just blanking the screen, so you don't see anything load. So you might blank the screen, load the bitmap, then reveal the bitmap by unblanking the screen, and then proceed to load your other stuff before finally kind of removing the bitmap from the screen. If you want to fill the area that the bitmap's using with code or something else that you load in, you would load everything else first, then you would blank the screen, and then finally overwrite the bitmap. Okay, so that's all the D64 stuff. So hopefully now, if I just run this, we've got everything else set up. If I load this, it should already have a segment by the name of pick 0. Have I repeated a segment name somewhere? Pick 0, pick 1. Have I done? Did I do pick 10 as pick 0? I did. Okay, there we go. And there we go. It's created it. You can see it's created all the segments. It's not loading it though. Why is it not loading it? Let's go and have a look in the file. Make sure it has actually created. Oh, it's created a main.d64. That's why. And that's because in here I've called it main.d64. I need to call it slideshow. You can call it what you want, but it needs to match whatever's in your batch file for the launch device here. So this bit is it's loading that bootloader in. This is the slow bit. Once it's loaded this, it then has the fast loader, and the fast loader should be able to load up the other bits. I'm talking about 5 seconds a picture, I think. It seems to be taking a little bit longer. Okay. Interesting. Not sure what it's doing there. I'm going to turn warp mode on. Oh, thank you for the follow, Code Serial. Welcome to the stream, dude. Okay, that's interesting. It seems to be getting stuck somewhere. I'm not sure what it's doing, so let's do some breaks into stuff. So load file, we're definitely getting to that. It's interesting. Why is that not actually loading? Maybe I need to. Maybe I need to make some changes to the cart loader stuff for disk loading. So this should be setting. Okay, we're not getting any. If there was an error, the border would go red. We're not getting an error. Maybe it's just not fast loading or something. Let's try again. Thing is, I've not done much testing with the disk stuff, so this is kind of, this again is kind of a bit work in progress. So if anybody does start using this, it'd be interesting to know your experience of it. It's pointing to this location, which is really odd. Definitely shouldn't be there. I'm just going to make sure that the disk loading code is actually in location. It is. There is definitely disk loading code there. Okay, I am going to put a breakpoint at 0400. How I'm going to do that, I don't know. I think I should be able to do it. Actually, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll load it up. Oh no, do you know what? I'll load it in the debugger. That's probably the easiest way of doing it. This is loading the cartridge now, though. Let's make it a bit big. Oh, come on. Okay, right. Resize. Let's drop that cartridge image in. Desktop. There we go. What is this music? This is the chiptune station on Pretzel. I want it to naturally get to 1 pairs, and I don't want some crazy bot sequence going on again. That would drive me mad. Okay, let's see what happens. So I'm just going to pause it, and I'm just going to. Oh, see, look, it's gone. Where can I get to that? Hang on. 04. Seriously? 0400. Definitely disk loading code there. but it's not getting to it. It's kind of doing something really odd when it gets there. Alright, there we go. Let's see what happens. Okay, it's definitely got in here. So this is where it should be loading from the disk, which it seems to be doing. Let me press F11. And then it gets stuck. Maybe I need to turn off the... Yeah, okay, so I think I need to mess around with the disk loading stuff. It's weird because if you look at the original, like the test file here, so this file is loading. I'm just going to rename the disk to slideshow so that it actually builds from here without me messing around too much. This is loading all the memory from 0800 all the way up to the end of memory pretty much. And that loads absolutely fine, so I don't understand why that's not working now for those things. I obviously need to do a little bit more work around those. So this is loading the original test file in, which is now filling up the memory. It takes about 20 seconds or so. If I just warp through it, there you go. Oh wait, now that's not working. Okay, I've broken something fundamental somewhere. Oh, maybe... Ah, wait a minute. I shouldn't be pressing F8. I think I need to press F7. Because it's a disk. I think, maybe. Maybe the Cartify is doing something really weird to it. Let's turn warp mode on again. Yeah, so that's working. So let's try that from slideshow. So I'm going to press F7 instead to build it, which isn't going to auto load it. But then if I just drag and drop slideshow.d64 in there and warp load. Nah, there's definitely something wrong with it. It's getting stuck in the same place. All right, I need to look at what it's actually doing. It's breaking something in the D64. Is still output on CRT? No, it's so the segment code output is CRT, but the actual disk itself here is generated as a D64, so it should be fine. I need to look in a bit more detail as to why this is happening, because it's definitely loading the first file. If I put an increment in here, I'll just go and check that there's nothing going on in the disk loader. Only when there's an error. Okay, so it is trying to do something, but then it's just for some reason it's getting lost and going to some random place in memory. Yeah, it's not even loading that first one. Thanks for the bit, Stepz. Oh, good night, Velociraptor. Take care. Yeah, I think I'm going to wrap it up now anyway. There's enough stuff there. I'm going to leave it working from Cartridge. So there's a few little things I obviously need to flesh out. Firstly, I need to get Magic Desk working properly for large files, because for some reason it's not, which is really interesting because I'm pretty sure I had that working. and then I need to Gmod 2, yeah. Then I need to figure out why the disk loader isn't working for these. So I might have a play around with that tomorrow on my lunch break. The disk loader should, in theory, bank the kernel in as well. I think it could be something to do with it, Andy. Actually, yeah. So I'm gonna investigate around that. But I'm not banking anything out at the beginning, so it should just be working. I don't know. I'll investigate a little bit more. I'm sure it's something quite simple. So. Yeah, no problem, Zooperdan. It's a great tool, and you should get it out there more. I'm pretty sure a lot of the demo scene groups would want to use it as well as yourselves, or maybe you want a kind of head start on everybody else. I certainly wouldn't blame you for that. I'm definitely going to be using it for any time I need to do a bitmap now. I'm going to be using that as my main go-to tool. Why did that fail? That was something a bit weird. Get rid of that. It's got a very strange kind of single crash somewhere. Oh, there we go. So yeah, Saturday we'll get back into doing the game. We've got some good stuff to do on the game. I want to try and get that kind of full game loop working. So I think we're going to try and add the weight to the players and maybe start thinking about the buttons and stuff. We've got the pipes working brilliantly, so I'm really pleased with that. Next Thursday stream, I'm going to look at doing another kind of back to basic stream. So we did one on kick assembler and 6502 addressing modes. I'm going to go back one more as well, and I'm going to kind of go back to almost the first stream that I did and just go through the very basics of how assembly language works, because I want to make that series of videos very kind of 6502 very kind of basic level oriented. So I'm going to go back to the very beginning and repeat the stuff we did on the first on the very first kind of coding stream that I did way back in probably June or so now, last year. It's also one of the videos that people have it's my most watched video on YouTube. It's got about 6,000 views or something, and it's the one video people keep asking me over and over again, can you upload a higher res version of it? So I think if we just kind of go back and do that thing, we can put it into the separate Let's Code kind of series, which makes it a bit more concise and a bit easier for people to find, and they can have it at a higher resolution as well. So we'll go back and do that. So if you want to catch up on recap on all the easy kind of how assembly language works, how machine code works, then that's the place to be next week. Right, let's have a look, see who we can raid. Where's my creator dashboard? I can never remember how to do this anymore. They changed it also. More than the one eye video. Yes, yes, surprisingly. Yeah, it does really well actually, that video. Let's have a look. Who've we got? I can't actually see any. Oh, because I need to click raid. That's why. Raid channel. There we go. Let's go and raid Moonbeam, because Moonbeam's playing some retro stuff. So, yeah, Moonbeam plays a little bit of everything. I've not seen him play a C64 game yet, though, so maybe we have to request that from him one day. But yeah, cheers, guys. I'll upload the work we've done tonight onto the GitHub straight after this. I'll try and fix the disk loading stuff, and I'll take a look at the Magic Desktop, because I really do need to get those things working. So let's go raid him now, and I'll see you guys on Saturday. And yeah, let me know if you do want any, I mean, beyond the fixes that I obviously need to make. Please let me know if there's anything else you want me to add to the tool, so we can use it collaboratively with everybody. All right, cheers, and see you on Saturday, guys. Bye.